Volibear taken away from Morden. Very quick lines coming in. Jarvan for Nasus. Both of them straight at Hercubot, Shen towards Kevin.
So a lot of junglers taken away so far. We have at least open though for the Giants. I'm curious to see if SK wants to pick that up and run it on Nif again as support. Because then Morden, like he's going to be forced to play, I think Mundo is his only really other jungler besides that, maybe Hecarim to go for. But, you know, seeing this many jungler bans really is interesting to see who's going to step up with what new champion.
Well, there's been a lot of talk on Twitter and what have you about Hecarim. Oh, just get something gets stuck in my throat. That was weird. But Hecarim statistically is not doing too well in the LCS. Nope. 4 times he's been picked, 4 times he's lost the game. Well, not him specifically, but the team that he was in, of course, lost the game. So let's move on from that because we are seeing the first round of picks. Twisted Fate first out for SK, and then Thresh and Elise for Giants.
Okay, so that Twisted Fate, we saw Oslet use it against Gambit, I believe, and just did a fantastic job on it, really interacting with each and every lane. Saw Bjergsen on it with yesterday over at the Wolves games. And of course, the Elise, you know, it kind of called that one. If Morden's, that's pretty much his go-to champion if you have all of these banned out for him specifically. So obviously we'll have that in the jungle. And the Thresh, you know, I'm really curious to see how well Babetta does on him. We know him mostly for his Zyra, his outstanding Zyra play. Yeah. But Thresh can always make a giant impact in games.
See what you did there. So,
wait, SK I don't even see what I did there.
Yeah, well, they could do with a Thresh, breath of fresh air in the team, I suppose we could say as well. As SK Gaming here go for their second and third picks, and there is a Rumble. Kevin been brilliant, been outstanding with Rumble from what we've seen this week, and there is a Lulu for Nif.
Okay, so interesting. So obviously we'll have the Twisted Fate on Oslet, Kevin on the Rumble, which I think this is the 4th game running for him that he's actually been playing Rumble, and he's just been, like you said, unstoppable. Like no one can really go up against him. If he doesn't win his lane, which usually is in a 1v2 situation, somehow he is. Like, out of nowhere in these 1v2 situations, like he has a jungler come by and they're able to keep him up in farm, actually keep him ahead quite a bit of his counterpart, and then switch to the solo lane and just keep that lane pushed the entire time. And then, of course, the other team has to react by sending more than one person to deal with him. And when you do that, SK's like, hey, you send 2 people up there, we're going to push mid, we're going to push bottom, we're going to take dragon, we're going to just punish you for doing that. Yeah,
he's been very, very strong with that Rumble. See what Giants are going to go for next year. Obviously, both teams still have to lock an AD carry into the lineups here. That may come in the 3rd and 4th pick this time around from Giants. And there is Ashe, another one that Jim Bones has gone to when at times when that Kennen has been banned out.
I think we're going to see Diana picked up for Giants for extra in the middle lane to punish Twisted Fate quite a bit. You have that Thresh combo, you can pull them all in, and they have to run through the wall or the box to actually get out. And then Semix can be using that Kha'Zix in the top lane. But the Ashe, we saw the Wolves with their triple global team, and just how impactful that Ashe can really be. If you land that arrow, cross map, it's pretty much a guaranteed kill. And of course, that leaves Varus open, it leaves Twitch open for Candy Panda, and it looks like he will actually go for that as a Pantheon being sat on. Whoa. So we have a Pantheon jungle, it looks like here, and I am excited to see that. They said they were going to try new things though, Joe. They lied to us.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think one surprise in a team is not really trying new things.
Well, that's Hercubot though, because back in Katowice, I believe it was, he played Shaco jungle. Like he brought in like a lot of new junglers we normally don't see. So yeah, I'm curious to see how well his Pantheon is.
Well, right now Giants sat with Cassiopeia. That could be an interesting choice in this one. And I'm not falling for it, but he's like, Right, if it only looked into the camera and smiled, that would have been the perfect moment for him. But they're still sticking with that one. A little bit of discussion here for the Giants. Obviously, that could mean that Kha'Zix heads into this top lane with Samux. And I was going to say he's just typed something there, which tells me that he's maybe going to be changing this one. Syndra, and he's still smiling, so I'm just going to be quiet.
The thing is, Cassiopeia, so she has a really good record so far in LCS, as she's been played, I believe, once or twice now. But when you have a Pantheon jungle, she's really susceptible to ganks in the middle lane. Like, once that flashes down, you can be caught so easily. And if Pantheon jumps on you with a Twisted Fate, gold card following that up, you're gonna die. So I was expecting someone a little bit more able to escape in the middle lane, but we actually might, I was about to say, we might see her in the top lane, which would make a little bit more sense, I guess. But Extra's gonna have a tough time on Cass.
Well, and he's up against Ocelot, who, he is a man who was famed for his Cassiopeia when she was really being picked up, around the times of Intel Extreme Masters. Kiev, which is the first event that we saw, Gambit back then, Empire and Moscow 5 coming into the scene. He played a lot of Cassiopeia, and he definitely will know how to go up against this one. So maybe Exeter just trying to, you know, boss that middle lane a little bit and show that he can take down Ocelot.
See, one thing I like to see here is that we saw Giants play Dragonborns, I believe it was last week, where Dragonborns finally took the win, but Dragonborns ran a very heavy assassin or very heavy damage composition, and the Giants have something similar to that. So they have a lot of damage out of Kha'Zix, obviously, who can get those resets. You have the arrow initiate out of Ashe. Then you have the ultimate out of Cass. If you land one of those, it's so perfect. It's so spot on. You can just decimate the enemy team. You follow it up with Elise doing damage. You have even Thresh to get in there. You can really cause those resets and cause Samix to be a real trouble for you if you can get those resets.
Talk us through level 1 and what we could maybe possibly see.
Okay, so we have a Pantheon. That's always hard to really tell what the enemy team's going to do with that. So you have a potential stun out of them, but obviously you'll set yourself really far behind in the jungle. You have a gold card obviously out of Ocelot. You have the slow out of Nif. So SK is a very good team if they want to go for an invade here. But to me, I think it's more about kind of trying to scout out what Giants are going to go for, like what lane they're going to send their AD carry support in, what lane they're going to send their solo laner in. And then over for the Giants side, they have a lot of damage. They really do. If you land a hook on someone, followed up by Cocoon, they will die by the time that they can even flash away, even with that crit out of Ashe to follow up.
It's like a quarter of someone's health at this stage.
And he has a Doran's Blade too, so it shows you that he wants a lot of damage right off the bat.
Well, let's see. There is the hook. Oh, and he almost landed onto Nif. The ward was put down, not being able to be cleared out. They got 2 auto attacks off onto that one, but couldn't quite finish. So, ward's going down. Both mid laners actually starting boots and pots this time around. Not quite the red elixir fest that we saw in our first game of today.
That's the thing, though. You need the speed against both these champions. Like Cass, if she lands a Q on you, she gets a speed increase so she can chase you down. You have to be able to dodge that. And then over for Ocelot, if you land a gold card, you get a lot of free damage onto Cass as well. So pretty smart pickups by them. And we do see Hercubot actually starting over towards the double golems, which is very unique. You don't really see junglers take double golems as their first thing.
Well, we'll see what his exact path's going to be from this one.
But I actually like it because now that I think about it, there's a ward down from Giants, so they saw him put the ward down, so he's trying to avoid it. By starting at double golems, he's making the enemy team think he's starting at blue buff. And because of that, he might go for a very early gank on mid lane or bot lane.
Well, we are going to see them do the red buff here just after that. Thresh and Ashe are actually waiting in the closest bush to that bottom lane's turret. And to me, it looked like they almost want to go for first blood here.
Yeah, they're going to go for damage. This is standard. Like if you run an Ashe, you get that 100% crit up, and you want to apply so much pressure onto the AD carry right away. You know that Candy Panda doesn't have oh yeah, she gets caught right here.
They managed to land the hook. There goes the ignite down. Barrier used from Candy Panda. Nif coming around the side. Have they got the damage to finish off? He only needs a couple more auto attacks. Now they switch around on towards Nif, and Jimbone's in the end getting taken very low. You cannot underestimate what minions can do at this level.
Yes, yes you can't. And the thing was, like, they went for that because they knew Candy Panda didn't have health pots, so they tried to go for some very early aggression and really push him out of lane early on. And it looks like Candy Panda was able to share some XP. We see Kevin getting very low on the top end from Samix.
Samux going straight in there. There's a flash coming out, the jump in, and the first blood from Samux, but he's going to get hit again. The minion, he had to get rid of that one. He was beating down on him, but a fantastic 1v1 first blood.
And just as we talked about Samix, they're not doing so well in LCS. He's showing right there that he deserves the beat here, getting that very, very crucial first blood, but it's all about how Giants can deal with that as the game goes on. We've seen Kevin before get this position, and he always is able to get back in the game.
Oh, but here's Hercubot coming into that top lane, and well, he's not quite able to get the damage off onto Samux, and that would have been the ideal response to that first blood if Hercubot could have taken him down, but not to be. The Giants have the kill and the goal lead here early on.
See, Joe, I'm actually really happy. Oh, we see actually Jimbo's getting very low. He gets caught.
Oh, there's the hook coming across Babetta, trying to get in onto Candy Panda. Nif keeping the auto attacks flowing there onto Babetta, and that's the funny thing about this lane now, that Giants tried to force SK out of lane early, and look who's gone home first.
Yeah, that's just really unfortunate for them, but it does allow him to get a little bit of boots so he can get some damage in. Look at that, Nif, the harass that he could put out was able to counter a little bit. And Joe, I'm happy to not up the cameraman because the Pantheon drops are going to be so key. When he gets level 6, it's just going to destroy people because you have slows in the top lane, you have slows in the bottom lane, even the stun down there, you have the stuns in the middle lane. So pretty much, if him and Ocelot want to go around ganking, like they have a perfect pair for it.
Yeah, and good job they banned that Shen out because that would have been a real pain to have Twisted Fate, Shen, and Pantheon in there. But right now, SK, of course, pushing this bottom lane up, 22-9 CS, and that just shows you the impact that they've had on this lane, considering that they took a lot of damage early on, very controlled. Candy Panda and Nif, you know, they've been here since Season 1. They were in the Game DE lineup, then went over to SK Gaming. They had, or Candy Panda had his time out of the team, but they are one of the most stable bottom laners. They have a lot of experience. They know exactly what they're doing with each other. And that's what's dangerous in this position.
Yeah, you see how that time's really paid off for them. They just know exactly what each other are going to do at the exact same time. And because of that, they're able to play really aggressive, play really defensive, and really take advantage of situations. Look over the top lane. Morten was there trying to go in for a gank here, but fortunate for him, he was actually pinged. He wasn't fully spotted, but Kevin is playing passive, knowing that he doesn't have that flash available. He cannot afford to get another kill over Samix.
And there we go again in the bottom lane. Babetta down to half HP. The shield coming out from the Lantern. That will avoid a little, or allow him to avoid a little bit of that damage, but Candypan has done a great job there. We can see that Morten is actually waiting in this top rush right now. They've already killed Kevin once. That was, of course, the 1v1, the first blood here for Samix. Just have the Doran's blade in there. There's a ward put straight down. That's a great read coming out of Kevin.
That is so unfortunate for Morten. He committed so much time right there. I think it was about a minute and a half, and then he just got spotted by the ward, being forced to back away. So he's going to fall a little bit behind. It was yeah, like you said, great word by Kevin to know that was going to be there, and a great counter.
Hercubot also coming up towards this top lane now. See if he can actually get involved. And the funny thing is that Kevin's actually managed to hit level 5 before Samux in that one, even after dying for that first blood.
Yeah, that's because Morten was absorbing all the XP in the top lane, which is going to hurt him quite a bit, but the alternative to that is that they could have got another kill onto Kevin, as Samix might get greedy here, might try to go in, but Hercubot is there to counter this.
Yeah, interested to see if Samux will make that wrong decision. Morden's nowhere near at the moment. He's down on that bottom side of the map. He's going to be headed to try and set something up there, maybe with the good old Lantern. Yep, here we go. We're going to see a Lantern gank coming in as Morten goes through. SK seemed to have sniffed that something was going to happen from that one. The Cocoon, though, will land on towards Nif. He's in a lot of trouble as he gets hooked back. Babetta didn't follow through, but it'll be enough as Jim Bones gets the kill.
Great Cocoon coming out there and followed up with that hook, able to lock him down. We saw the flash come out, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. And that bottom lane, Jim Bones, we need, he needs to step up for his team a little bit since he doesn't have that cannon, and he's going to do it right here on this Ashe. He's down in CS, but that kill's going to help him get back in the game.
And there you just saw the absolute danger of that Lantern and what it can do for you. As Babetta may try and set the same up here. He's landed the hook on towards Candy Panda. Going to knock him back here with the flame. But have they got the damage? Flash away from the Cocoon, but he's very low, and Morten will pick up the kill. What a move again out of Giants.
So picking up 2 kills with that gank in the end. Giants looking very strong in that bottom lane. We even see Hercubot now stealing away some jungle creep. Might get spotted here, actually caught here by Samix, as he's trying to punish Morten for being in that bottom lane.
And he blocks most of the damage in true style there, as Pantheon, as Ocelot, sorry, in the middle lane is going to be in a lot of trouble. He's going to try and use Destiny, and he's going to get away. He's gone to the Wraiths, which was an interesting decision, to be honest, to go onto that side of the map, but I think it was just a case of quickly just flick your mouse over and click somewhere on the minimap.
Just crap. Okay, good. Safe. As you saw, Exer just run into that bush. He almost caught him, and if he had a word there, which Ocelot did, he was able to pick up that kill, but that's Cass. Like, you just saw how deadly she can be. She locked down Ocelot. He couldn't even do any damage. He just had a straight run away. And Exer, he has his flash available, doesn't have Ignite anymore, but has that tier to start stacking up. We see the early Twin Shadows coming out of Ocelot as well.
Babetta coming back to lane here. He's going to have that sight stone in, and a pink ward to get rid of the vision that was put down earlier on by SK Gaming. Currently, Giants leading 3-0. A number which, against all authority, are familiar with from their last game, of course. They were doing really well against Gambit, but things quickly turned after they lost those kills. Let's have a look down the CS, because it's actually really close in some places, but not quite so in others. Rumble, 7 CS ahead of Kha'Zix in the top lane. Twisted Fate, 7 CS ahead of Cassiopeia in the middle lane. And 17 CS is the lead between the AD carries in favor of Candy Panda.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. You never really expect Ashe to win her lane super hard in terms of CS. Like, you expect when she gets level 6 to pick up a couple of kills because of that arrow. So as long as she keeps up somewhat in terms of farm, she'll be doing very well as the game progresses. Not to mention, if you do land a nice arrow onto Ocelot, like, there's no way he's going to be able to escape that. We do have Hercubot now, level 6, so we could see a gank coming in very shortly, Joe.
Yeah, this is where things get really fun. And that Pantheon going to be moving around as much as he can. Ocelot just getting some wards down as well. Really interested to see how that Destiny and the Grand Skyfall are put together here. Coming out of Hercubot and Ocelot, as we are going to see Morten coming in towards the middle lane. There's a stun card coming out. Can he get the Cocoon? Yes, he's landed it there, and Cassiopeia unloading onto Ocelot. Now that will be Extermin picking up another kill for the Giants.
And we talked about, Morten, like, Elise is one of his favorite junglers like that in Dr. Mundo, and you gave it over to him, and most teams ban out that Elise against him. It's just like banning out Kennen from Jim Bones, and he's showing you why you should. 1-0-2 now. Be able to push this mill turret a little bit here. And I wanted to touch on Hercubot's items really quickly. He went for a Doran's Blade, so he knows he's going to kind of fall off as the game goes on in terms of his gank potential, so he really wanted to be powerful early on, but he hasn't been able to make any plays off it. They see him going in on the mid lane, though.
That's a lot of damage already coming in. Morden going to be in trouble here underneath the tower, but of course he has good old Repel to get away from that one. The minions just about dying there as he's coming through, and now Ocelot going to get involved. He's got vision thanks to that ward as he throws the wild cards out. They won't have the range. Spiderlings return to Mama, and he goes home.
The damage is done either way, though, Joe. Getting that kill on the offside. Did build a flash out of Morden, but, you know, he's not really going to care too much since he obviously has a Repel to get into a fight. But, you know, considering what's been happening with, you know, with the top lane, with Samix getting that first wood over to Kevin, it's been relatively quiet up there as most of the action's been rotating around wherever Morden goes.
Yeah, both AD carries got the Vamp Scepters in there. Both got a Doran's Blade. Just that extra dagger for Ashe right now.
We see Hercubot coming in the bottom lane. Looks like he might try to go for a jump here. They do have the Varus ultimate available. I'm curious to see if they're actually going to go for it, because they could pick up a kill easily here on Jim Bones.
Yeah, Destiny obviously isn't up at this point. Are they going to be making that move in? Here we go. There is the Grand Skyfall coming down. It's going to catch Jim Bones, but they go for Babetta. He puts the box in position, but Hercubot picks up the kill. One ultimate use, one kill secured. Nicely done from SK.
And that was also nicely done by Babetta there. Like, he kept Jim Bones alive because of that box. He had flash to get away, but he knew he wasn't. He just want to make sure Jim Bones, who didn't have that escape, just to stay alive, keep farming up, and keep becoming powerful. But still, that's what's so deadly about Pantheon. That drop, you can't really expect or see it coming, and it can just destroy your team.
And look at Ocelot here. He's having to stand so far back on that middle turret. He doesn't want to be getting caught out. Morden was up on the other side as well, trying to get around, and will be spotted here by a ward, as we are going to see Jim Bones taking a lot of damage. He's got hardly any mana left to do much about this, and they are pushing through. There's a flash, the ignite. Nif gets the kill.
And in the end from that, with Babetta saving his life, Jim Bones did end up going down. It was unfortunate for him, but a great play out of SK right there to know that they could apply that pressure. Knowing where Morden was on the map, and that turret now getting very low as Babetta does return to lane. But still, look at that CS difference, Joe. 30 CS between the two AD carries.
Yeah, really strong from Candy Panda. As you see Kevin trying to push Samux away from this one. He's going to have to leap off behind his turret, and we'll probably miss a little bit of the farm, thanks to those void spikes being blocked out. So let's have a look quickly down the items and what we've got coming up so far. Elise, Cassiopeia, spiders, snakes, kind of similar. Sorcerer's Shoes and a Tia and a Doran's Blade compared to the cages, Null Magic Mantle and a Doran's for Ocelot.
And that tier, I mean, it's you kind of need something like that on cast since you spam so many abilities, but obviously when you get that 5 stack of your passive, your abilities don't cost too much and you're able to sustain quite well. But the thing is, I'm looking at, is that you have such a great comp out of SK to dive with. Like I was talking about diving buddies a little bit with that Twisted Fate ult with the Pantheon ult. They haven't really been able to sync that up quite well. And I'm curious to see how well SK can use that as the game goes on, like more of the mid to late game where, you know, the Pantheon drop doesn't really work out too much. But the thing is, that's their initiate right there. You drop the Rumble ultimate across the place, Pantheon's going to fall, and you're just going to hurt people so bad. You're going to do a lot of damage to the entirety of Giants. And they're already squishy at this point. They're running a very heavy damage composition.
Ocelot actually was starting to recall there, but realized that his lane was going to get shoved out and decided to stick around. Good ward coverage right now for SK as well. With 3 wards around, as X is going to put his ultimate down here on towards Ocelot. The Ash Arrow will miss. Ignite, I don't think has got enough damage just yet to finish off the kill. Ocelot manages to walk away, but here is Nif getting caught out in the jungle. Has to use a Wild Growth on himself, but he is slowed down completely from this one. The box really devastating. Oh, there comes the ultimate out of Candy Panda. Let's go with that one for now, which obviously tied them up. But he still lost his support. Go on, Jason, please talk for a while.
It tied them up. It tied your tongue up there, Joe. But we do have Dragon being started here out of Giants. They should be able to take it here. You do have Cassiopeia. Very low on mana, though, so if Hercubot wants to, he could go in and try to create some sort of distraction, some sort of damage. As Twisted Fate is ulting in, it looks like. at least just giving the vision, and Giants are backing away.
They got the vision, and he's going to come down to join Hercubot and Candy Panda. Dragon went back into his pit. It's still at half HP right now. They've kept it tagged up quite long with this one. It keeps trying to reset itself. Candy Panda now will finally focus in there. Hercubot waiting to jump onto one as Ocelot is going to get snared. Gets hit up there with the hook as well. He's in a lot of trouble right now. He's going to go down. Morden will fall here as well. Now Jim Bones is going to be the focus. He's got no mana left. Can they get onto him? Hercubot and Candy Panda decide, nope, let's go for Babetta. Let's try and get him down once again. The slow will land in. Have they got enough to finish him up? He tries to hook over. A minion actually died there, I think, right at the end, which is unlucky a little bit for Babetta, but that's another good kill coming out of SK.
And that was an initiate coming out of the Giants right there. We saw the nice hook and the nice flay come out of Babetta as he even flashed in for it, but SK able to turn that around. Dragon still hasn't been done just yet, but Giants do have their blow. You see the actual dive happening on the Jimbone's bot lane. He's dead. He's gonna be dead.
He's gonna be dead, and he is dead. And finally finished off there by Candy Panda, who's now 1-1-4. We've seen the twin shadows coming out from Ocelot as his first major item. We've seen the potential of that one coming in as well. And, well, magic resist, definitely not a bad thing against Cassiopeia either.
Definitely not a bad thing. And this is really reminiscent of the last game we saw with Gambit versus Against Authority, where Against Authority had 5 kills up with no deaths. And then you see, I think Giants picked up 1 kill right there, but SK has gotten 5 kills pretty much like in a row. And they're really starting to punish the Giants. Their power of their mid-game team is really starting to shine through right now, as Giants are now going to fall back to more of a late-game kind of composition. When you have Samix get fed, get the damage he needs, you have Exter just become this force where you don't want to engage upon it because that ultimate will destroy you. We haven't seen very many arrows come out of Jim Bones just yet. I'm a little bit surprised by that, because it's always so powerful. You pair that in with Cass and you're going to kill someone, but we'll see if you can use those a little bit more as the game goes on.
Blue buff going to be giving it over towards Cassiopeia. Got Blasting One now added into the build. Well, the real difference here is between those AD carries. 40 CS difference, 114 compared to 222. But Blade of the Ruin King plus double Doran's Blade in Berserker Greaves compared to Berserker Greaves, a pickaxe and a Vamp Scepter.
And the thing is, you're going to see Candy Panda build Infinity Edge right after this item because the attack speed, the damage he's going to be doing, not to mention from his passive, the attack speed he gets. And as Asher, you're kind of locked into a certain build order in terms of like Infinity Edge, maybe Phantom Dancer, maybe Last Whisper, because you have no escape and you're all about kiting, so you kind of need that damage for your team. But then you have a Twist of Fate who can dive you have the slows coming out of Kevin, you have Hercubot who can just land right on you, and extend in with the Lulu knockup. Like, it's going to be really hard for Jimbo to stay alive in these fights.
Babetta just throwing the lantern out and collecting those valuable souls. Make himself as strong as possible. Kevin now in this top lane, haunting guys, Seeker's Arm Guard plus the Sork Shoes compared to that of Kha'Zix's BF Sword, Tia, and the Vamp Scepter.
And it looks like Dragon might be started here for Giants. We are having Hercubot come down though. He has his jump available. As the Giants, they actually are in fact going to be starting Dragon here.
Hercubot here spotted out by Samux the entire time. We have seen the Dragon started off down to half HP. Not sure that SK can get near it, and in the end they decide to just relinquish control of that one.
They might be going for an engage very soon though. They have Kevin coming up from the top side. He was spotted by a ward, as you can see the pings coming in. They do have a nice composition to dive on top of this turret, but instead both teams just going to back away a little bit. Jimbo's needs to get this farm, needs to catch up a little bit to Candy Panda. And it looks like SK might even go for some damage on this middle turret, or just allow Kevin to push the top lane.
And that's what worked out for them so well as well, having Kevin on Rumble, pushing out the lanes and really allowing SK to get into those team fights where they know that they're strong. And Jimbo's still having to try and farm up what's left of that lane. Obviously, the turret was taken down a little bit earlier on. He is pretty much massively behind at this stage.
And SK's trying to keep it that way. So you have Candy Panda and Nip. They're trying to push that bottom lane very quick. So what it does is Jimbo has to go. He has to push the lane back out. But when that happens, it's going to be a 5v4 wherever SK wants it. So they try to force, like middle turret, like you saw right there with Kevin coming down. They try to force some sort of objective to punish Giants for losing that turret very early. We see the Astro coming in the mid lane though.
Yep, gonna come across. It is gonna hit Ocelot here. There is the hook. You're gonna pull Ocelot in. He gets knocked back. Actually, will use the flash as he's gonna go for Destiny, but can't quite get away. Extermin used his ultimate as well, so a lot burned, but they've killed Ocelot again.
Yes, right after he talked about Jimbo using that ultimate a little bit more to create some opportunities. They get the great kill onto him. They deny him his ultimate as well, who we tried to use to get away. But in the top lane, you've seen Semix maybe getting baited in here as Hercubot was trying to go for a gank.
Morden just going to throw the Spiderling out there and say, oh, he's waiting in the bush.
Look at the mid lane, Joe.
Yeah, Nif's going to go get hooked up here once again. Wild Growth comes down there. Is the box in position a little bit too late? Nif did have to use his flash to get away from that one, and wild growth, which can never be underestimated in a team fight.
Yeah, it's going to be very crucial for SK since they have a really high damage composition with not too much tankiness. Obviously, Pantheon does get a little tanky with blocking auto attack every couple of attacks, but you need that ultimate to really knock the enemy team up and give you that pseudo tankiness you're going to need for the fights. And
the fact that you've got Pantheon and Rumble who are going to have to be right in the middle of them as well, right. That wild growth is for them.
Yes, very true. And you saw right there with that kill happened on the mid lane, Giants kind of used the same kind of play against SK where they got a kill in the mid lane, they pushed it up, you had Kenny Pan in the bot lane just farming up, and he wasn't able to defend, forcing Nif to lose the ultimate in the flash, just like you mentioned.
Got that, just clearing things out. Got his Sheen in there. Gonna be moving up to Lich Bane next. So pretty standard for what we've seen from Twisted Fate recently. Over on the other side, Haunting Guys, Giants belt with that Spirit Stone from Morden. Haunting Guys also added into the build now for Cassiopeia. It's 2-0-0.
And you're seeing that double AP composition work really well. I mean, it's not like two solo laners AP, but you're having Morden just build pure AP out of the jungle here, which he does that quite well. He sometimes goes for Sunfire Cape, but I imagine that will be a Rylai's just to get that little extra health, maybe some slow in there on top of that. So do see an early Oracle out of Babetta. It is 20 minutes in, and he's trying to create an advantage, an opportunity for Giants to really start to snowball this game.
So Candy Panda is down at the bottom, still farming away. His lead was brought back a little bit, but he's quickly got that back up to that 40 CS. Well, actually, it's all about to hit 50 CS, so even growing at this stage of the match. As you said, we're 20.5 minutes in. It's only, if you look at the gold, 200 difference right now.
Yeah, that's it. Astro coming on an Onslaught.
Yeah, he's coming in onto Onslaught, and he's in a lot of trouble. Cocoon lands onto him, puts the Twin Shadows down, but that won't make the slightest of difference.
And you're seeing Onslaught use the same strategy Alex did with the feed trap, and now Samik's getting very low at the top, and we see Hercubot dropping.
Yeah, Hercubot going to drop down. There's the Equalizer coming in as well. Kevin was tanking up the turret. Hercubot now takes that privilege, and Kevin will finish off. Nicely done there by SK.
That was so... Wow, just out of Giants. The Astro landing followed up by the Cocoon, able to lock Onslaught down. He had no movement the entire time. He could not move, period. And the Giants were able to capitalize off that, taking a turret. And Samix on the top lane, even though he did die, was able to stall a little bit, was able to bait out the Pantheon ulti, allowing Giants to get that second middle turret. Looks like they might be heading down towards the bottom lane as well, to take out that turret and get 2 overall.
Yeah, that lane is pushed up thanks to Candy Panda a little bit earlier on. He's now got BF Sword in there. What else do we have picked up here recently? As the Ruby Sight Stones actually finished for both of the support players, and a Giant Spell and a Blasting Wand added in for Rumble.
And you're seeing how far Candy Panda is ahead of Jim Bones right now, just based on items. Like you can look at CS and say, yeah, wow, he's really far ahead. But if you see the Blade of the Rune King done and a BF Sword compared to the BF Sword and Pickaxe on the Jim Bones, so you have 1.5 completed items to half the completed items. You see the engage happen in the mid lane.
SK going in, Onslaught going to get involved as well. A brilliant ulti coming out of Extermin though. Onslaught is going to pick up the first kill, but here comes Samet. The 1 kill comes in. Are they going to go any further from this one? Doesn't look like it. They just want to repel that attack. And it will end
Jim Bones is coming in.
Yeah, Jim Bones is coming in at the side. Is he going to go for the arrow? Well, he would if he'd got some mana.
That is true. Didn't even notice that. Just saw him coming up from the lane, because that would have been very scary if he did see that happening. Like that entire combo of the Astro followed up by the Cocoon. Obviously, Cassiopeia's ult is down, but he's just going to farm up that lane. And Giants are really trying to make something happen here. I mean, it's pretty much tied in gold. They're up about 100 gold at this point, 22.5 minutes in, and Dragon will be up in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds for that Dragon. Samet's going to try and push his top lane out as far as he can. But the outer turret's still standing here for SK Gaming in the top and the bottom lane. So Giants really need to start pushing them out, because there's never too much pressure on you when those turrets are still there.
And the thing is, like, it's a really iffy thing for them to do. So if they go for a push, like you have 2 global ultimates out of SK that could push down your mid or bottom lane or something like that, can really make you lose turrets you don't want to lose right now. So if they are going to go for any turret pushes, they have to do it relatively soon, because if they lose any turrets just to a 5-man push at SK, it's going to create so many opportunities for SK to backdoor them.
Yep, the CS now between the AD carries has grown to 70. Every time I look, there's 10 or 20 added on top of it. So that's got to change. Infinity Edge, though, is now done. There's a Black Cleaver just being picked up for Hercubot as well.
Wow, so he's going pretty heavy on damage as well. We expect him to be a little bit tanky, because he's pretty much their tank for their team. They're just going to be trying to kill someone as quick as possible and then turn it into a 5v4 situation right away. But Giants kind of in the same boat. And Giants have a really good disengage as well. You have the volleys coming out of Ash, so they can kite them if they wanted to. You have the ultimate out of Cast. So the engage happening on a Samix.
Yeah, Samix in a lot of trouble here. He's going to get hit, but he jumps away. It won't be enough, though. Candy Panda will finish off that kill, and SK looking for more here from this one. Is Hercubot going to dive in from this one? Morden will see the flash come out in front of him there from Jimbones to get to safety. But here comes Hercubot from above. It's going to land in onto Morden. Twisted Fate going to join in there as well. And they chain together brilliantly. The slow coming out of Cassiopeia's ulti, but Morden will die in the end. Hercubot now on a rampage.
That twin shadow coming out, slowing Morden in the middle of that Pantheon ultimate for full damage was ridiculous. And that is what's so strong about these global teams. They pick up those 2 kills, not losing anyone on their team at all. And they can pick up the Dragon to finally lengthen the gold lead to more than 1,000.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the biggest it's been all game for SK. And they are now all tied up in terms of the kills. 2,500 gold to spend here for Candy Panda on Varus. And I don't fancy the chances of this outer turret being left alive at the end.
It's not going to survive much longer, but luckily for them, for the Giants, they have quick wave clear, easy for me to say, out of Cast right there. Still has a blue buff available, didn't lose in that last fight, so a little bit to keep it alive for a little bit longer. As he actually extra going for his first item as a Crystal Scepter, like his first major item, which is kind of interesting. And it kind of goes with the whole kite them along with Giants, maybe get a nice disengage off of them. And it's up to Kevin to land a nice equalizer, which if he's been playing like the way he's been doing yesterday and today, it's going to be perfect.
Samux now got the Bloodthirster and Mana Moon in there. As Kevin just realized he's coming in, decides to get straight away from that one. Void Spike's not quite connecting. Morden was sniffing around there as well. His position revealed, though, by the ward in that Tribush, so Kevin not going to be getting caught out with that one. Here is Jimbones and Babetta having to back off from this bottom lane. Let's have a look at the health on that turret there in the bottom outer and see exactly how low it is. So they've done a good amount of damage to that already.
Yes, they have, but still, that's a lot of people to commit over towards this bottom side when you could have other lanes pushed up against you. You see more in the top lane. They're trying to get the start. They don't. Yes, they do get it, but you use the lantern to get away.
Oh, Ocelot is bottom side of the map here, though. They may try and go in for things. There's the Ash Arrow landing onto Candy Panda. Not going to make too much of a difference as here comes Twisted Fate. The box is down, and Ocelot has to get have the Wild Growth put on him there. Oh. There's Extermin coming in. He will get the ultimate out of Varus again to lock him up and stop him chasing.
That was a great ulti out of Varus right there, but you do see on the top side of the map, a 2-man push happening for Giants here, but they're going to get caught.
Yeah, here comes the ulti again out of Hercubot. Going to jump straight on towards Morden. Where's the kill coming from? There is the repel. Hercubot only needs a couple more hits. He will find that with Ignite burning as well. Kevin joins back in there at the end. Don't think he really needed to do that, but it secures the double kill anyway for Hercubot, who's now 6-0-3, by the way.
Agreed, got him right there. I mean, I would have gone for it, to be honest, if it was me trying to pick up the kill for the extra gold, but in the meantime, you see SK, they're pushing the bottom lane up a little bit. Jimbones can't really go head-to-head against Candy Panda at all anymore, and Exter just trying to roam around seeing what to do. You know, you have the global ultimates of SK down, so he could have pushed mid lane a little bit here. In the meantime, he's just going to steal away some creeps, if possible, out of the jungle. And Dragon should be up pretty soon, about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be coming into play in a while. I expect Giants to be around there for that one. Since, well, they've fallen behind now in the kills and, of course, in the gold as well. But they are still 4-2 up in turrets. And I was talking earlier about those top and bottom outer turrets, which, you know, give you still a lot if they're still up there. You can still keep those waves pushing through. There's no real danger as in you have to go back usually when they're still standing. So that's a great move from Giants. But the question is, can they actually do anything about that with the likes of Hercubot and Twisted Fate on the map?
That's the biggest problem, like them trying to work around the split push strategy. We had Asa talk quite a bit about it when we were at Leal's saying, you know, we sat down with him like, Asa, how do you counter Fnatic's split push style? And he said, the only real thing I can come up with is split push them back. So they've always been working on that quite a bit, and they're showing it right here with that double global presence team that they have. And you have Jimbones who can obviously, you know, be at bot lane and arrow top lane, which is going to be very hard to hit, but SK's going to use this to punish Giants as much as they can.
Oh, here we go. Twisted Fate going to get involved, and he gets ulted straight away there by Exter, who gets polymorphed himself. There's a Wild Growth on Ocelot. Here comes Pantheon from the backside. The volley not going to connect. Equalizer is down. Kevin is right in there as Jimbones goes down. Ocelot low, Nif is low, but they're still going for this one. There's the repel. He's not going anywhere, though. Kevin gets that one, and are they going to get any more? Maybe they will. Babetta puts the box down, but Candy Panda is still chasing. He is now unstoppable as he gets kill number 5.
That equalizer was sublime right there. I mean, you caught Jimbo's and the full effect of it. He could not escape it, and he died almost strictly to that alone because of the damage over time. So do you see Hercubot? Oh. I thought he was jumping into the top side. I think he was, but he reset it real quick.
Yeah. I don't think he really wanted that to go down.
Trying to go man mode.
A little bit behind the turret and what have you. But that was another great one here. He's just trolling us right now with that Pantheon ultimate. Well, another great fight, Jason, coming out of SK Gaming. 16 for 10 now. They are in the lead. It's equating to about a 4,000 gold lead. Let's have a look at items here as well, as we are seeing the Andrew's Torment there picked up out of Cassiopeia, Lich Bane, and a needlessly large rod for Ocelot's Twisted Fate.
See, the thing is, Giants, they can win these fights. It's just all about them kiting properly. And SK is trying to counter that with the Equalizer, like we've been saying this whole time, and the Pantheon drop. But if they can avoid both of those, like with the Leandries, with the Rylai's onto Extra, you have a Rylai's onto Morden, you have the volleys out of Ashe, like you can't kite them for a long time. You can get yourself into a point where you have them about half health and you can finally push back at them. But it's just trying to make that happen. That's the hardest thing.
And kiting them when they drop on your head is obviously a little bit harder to do as well, since they're right, you know, on your head. So, are we going to see some action down in this bottom lane? Giants pushing in there with actually the hook does land here on towards Nif. There's the Ash Arrow coming out, but well, they didn't follow it up whatsoever. They were scared. Stun card lands onto Morden. Wild cards come in as well. Can they get the finisher? The Lantern will save him for now. Well, there is a chain of corruption landing on towards Samox. It spreads around some Jimbones who will cleanse it away, but they're still going here, SK. Hercubot is going to drop in from above, and he manages to get in on two of them. Double kill now for Ocelot. Extermin will go down. The Cassiopeia death sound, one of the most satisfying sounds in the game. And now it's all on Samox, who is running for dear life.
I don't know if it's satisfying if you're that cast though, Joe.
Well, if you Cassiopeia, then obviously not, but for everyone else, it's great.
But SK, again, I mean, they've been doing this for the last 10 minutes. It's just catching Giants over and over again. And Kevin, yet, with another perfect ultimate coming down into that tri-bush, you saw Samox trying to run away, and he died strictly to that alone. Like, he could not escape it quick enough because of the Rylai's, because of the damage Kevin has. So, SK now pushing in towards this inner turret.
Hercubot, not a problem tanking that up. They will take an inner turret. Are they going to go straight to middle? Actually, the lanes are quite pushed on them right now, so that'll slow them down, if not stop that from happening overall as Giants start to respawn. But one thing that SK will pick up off this is a Dragon.
And a nice chunk of gold as well. They're up to about 7,000 at this point. It's going to take it to about 8. Major items are being completed. You have the Zonias now done at Ocelot. We saw him earlier. He ulted into the blue buff of Giants where Extra was waiting, and he took an ulti to the face, but you saw him barely survive because of Nif. Like with that Lulu ultimate kept them alive. And it looks like they might even potentially be going for Baron here as Nif has that Oracle right now. And you talked about Giants not wanting to fight. SK is trying to make that happen.
Yep, trying to force it here around that Baron area. The wards all going to be cleared out. SK forcing Giants to do something. There is the Hawk shot, which for me was terribly used in that situation. They should have put it the other side, but here comes Twisted Fate and Pantheon, and Hercubot is godlike. They just exploded that Thresh, and without the hook, that makes it even harder now for Giants to do something.
Yeah, I really agree with that Hawk shot. I heard it go off, and I was like, where is it actually going? And it went over towards the Wraith camp of SK. When you need it over towards that Baron, that's one of the best things about Ashe is your ability to do that. But with Baron being started, SK trying to take it down. They have the Oracle, they're clearing all the vision, and Morden's going to try to go for a steal here, but I think he's just going to flash into his death if he goes for it.
Well, let's see. There we go. Chain of Corruption down on Extermin, and he's going to be rooted on top of the Equalizer. Kevin now on a killing spree of his own. Hercubot going very, very low. They managed to pick up the double kill as Kha'Zix jumps away. Hercubot, that was actually the Wild Growth, which I'm pretty sure was targeted onto Hercubot, but he clicked on someone else instead. But Hercubot did survive, at least for now. Samox is actually on this backside, and he's going to phase check here, Ocelot. And there's a stun card going down. The wild card's coming in as well. The Zonya's going to be used, and that's going to be just in time for Nif to come in and secure the kill.
Great job by Nif to stay next to Ocelot as well to take away the extra damage off of that Kha'Zix Q. And during that last fight, we saw Hercubot, like you were mentioning, the Lulu ulti didn't really hit him. You saw him actually go back in with his W, stun up Exter, and because of that, he got his proc again. He got his shield back up, and you saw that last Ashe auto attack come in, which got completely blocked and saved his life. That was a great split second decision move out of Hercubot.
Speaking of split, Jimbone's down here on this bottom lane. Has pushed that one right out, but he's got no mana whatsoever to do anything with. His flash is down, and Candy Panda's going to come into this one. This should be a simple fight for Candy Panda. Yep, destroys him. Godlike at 7-1-13.
And also even had his ultimate come up right that second if you wanted to use it right there. As you do have Baron being cleared of wards yet again out of Nif. And the rest of SK buying up a little bit. You see a Last Whisper come in for Candy Panda, who even bought a Spirit Visage because he's trying to survive the damage that Extra can put out because of that burst. And as you saw right there, it didn't really do much at all because of the way Extra's been forced to build. So we might see them go for Baron now. As we do have Extra, as we take his own blue. I mean, that's luckily been Giants' like a saving grace for them, is that they SK hasn't really denied blue too much away from Extra. He's been able to use that to get his farm, use that for his ulti cooldown. But it's still, I mean, because he's forced to go into this build order, he doesn't have a lot of damage behind him. We have SK waiting on the sidelines. They're going to try to go for an engage.
Yeah, and it is going to be Hercubot once again who gets involved. They go for Extermin. He's going to ulti onto Ocelot, who uses a Zhonya. Another great equalizer comes across. The Chain of Corruption actually missed there from Candy Panda, but it looks like they're thinking they've done enough damage to just turn back around and go towards Baron, or maybe even just set up another trap. And Giants, are they going to face check it? As good as face checking, and Samex has to leap himself away. The stun card won't quite land in there for Ocelot. Didn't quite have the range that he needed. Morden will flash back to the turret. It's going to be another case of deja vu as SK take the same path back to their hidey hole bush.
But I don't think this time Giants are going to come around the side and actually get attacked by him, as they can go for Baron, as Giants are going to have to back away. And as I say that, they stopped doing that, and they're going to be heading over towards Baron right here.
Yeah, that was a Hawk shot that was actually in the right position for my money. Baron down already to half HP. There's a ward over the top from Thresh. Nif is just going to clear that one out. Will SK go for the fight? There's the Ash Arrow. It lands actually on towards Ocelot. Volley coming across. The hook miss, but Nif going to get caught up here by the Cocoon. Morden is going to repel away. Are they going to keep going on this one? Morden actually dropping back since he was down below half health. Giants can't quite get in there, but they do have a one-man advantage. Will they stick around here for Baron, or will they even push this middle lane a bit?
They could go for it, and you saw in that last fight Baron being the MVP because you saw the Ash Arrow come in, it slowed him, and then he knocked up the two members of SK, able to turn that into a kill. And a great repel to Morden because he sent out his Spiderling, and then he just hopped right back up and just sat back because he knew he would pick up the kill with the rest of his team there. But still, I mean, SK, like, how are you going to push against a Twisted Fate who has this much damage already? He's sitting at 400 AP almost. He's level 18 already, and with that Lich Bane, he can full clear waves himself.
Yeah, definitely. A very strong man in there. Is he going to go for it here? He has popped his ulti. He is going to go in towards Extermin. Gets a stun card down. Here comes Hercubot as well. The ultimate does land on towards Ocelot, but he's going to die. The Cocoon was in there, but how much difference is it really going to make? Right now, it's not looking like too much. Morden saved by the Lantern. Yeah,
it made none at all, but that's still really well timed out of Morden right there. And that's just a dive buddy pairs of Ocelot and Hercubot just using their ultis to get in there, and the perfect use out of Zhonya's as well. I believe Ocelot even avoided the damage off the ultimate, actually avoided it completely by using it at a perfect time. Shot coming in at Baron yet again, but it will be a 5-on-4 situation here, and without Extra up, without his ultimate there, I don't really think there's much Giants can do about it.
Well, I'm sure they are going to try, I think, to stop this one from going down. The better throws the Lantern through. Gets himself a ward in there as well. Nif still got that Oracle up, which will clear one out. Second ward comes in. Baron is down to 3,000 HP as they are going to go in towards Morden. Been locked up by the Chain of Corruption, but Baron is going to be stolen away. Morden got in there. Giants steal a Baron 37 minutes in, but can they escape from this one? Equalizer going on to Jims. There is the box down. Ocelot tries to go through it, but you don't simply walk through a box. And he couldn't get the stun card down in time. And guess what? The push is on here from Samex. He's managed to take out the inhib turret.
Great play by him to actually know that they weren't really going to potentially steal it away. You see Twisted Fate using the ulti, trying to go for him, it looks like. He doesn't have zoners available, though.
And there's the ultimate used out of Samex. He's going to jump over the wall towards those golems. Kevin coming in around the side. The harpoon's going to hit. You're not escaping this one, Samex. That will be the Baron buff going down, but actually did a lot of damage to Kevin in the process. But nonetheless, it's a kill. One less man with the Baron buff.
So the damage is done. They were able to get that middle inhibitor turret down. They can take that inhibitor. They can actually change the game in their own favor, where they can kind of just wait out SK and try to go for some push on the sides, though. SK still has shown their mastery of this whole Pantheon Twisted Fate combo of initiating on you and not letting you escape.
The pairing that is going to be now known as Ossabot.
Herculot.
Good one. The hook not quite landing there onto Ocelot in that bottom lane as he pushed that one out. Actually, Babetta's going to go aggressive, and with the use of that lantern, they may get in. Oh, wow, he actually just completely screwed himself there, Ocelot, as he amazingly dodged the Ash Arrow, and then it is Zonya's.
I think he got stop points for that one, though. That was pretty well done, but obviously, I'm not going to escape. The death timer...
I can only imagine what he said after, you know, the word he used on the analysis desk in lesser times. But, you know, he did well to dodge it, but, well, yeah.
He doesn't give a truck, Joe.
Bit trigger happy there on the Zonias.
Yeah, a little bit. And not to mention, though, he had a 55-second respawn timer because we're 40 minutes in. His Zonias will be up, like, right after that, so it's not really going to matter too much in the end. Was able to stay alive. Was able to commit Giants a couple seconds longer down there. But still, I mean, with Baron buff, SK is not really going to push up against this.
So, Giants pushing down again. Of course, they've got an open inhibitor to go at should they decide to push through. And for me, with 5 men there, it looks like they're definitely going to be trying to get in on towards the inhibitor. What are SK going to do about it? Will they simply allow them to get in? Will they try and pick a fight here?
I think SK can win a fight if they do want to go for it. You have Hercubot jump into the back line. He can easily destroy them. You have or actually Ocelot coming up right now. He has ultimate available, and he has home guard boots. No, it looks like he's not going to head for it. But in the meantime, you see Giants going to be heading down towards the bottom lane. It looks like they might try to go for a push on this bottom turret, because they have a giant minion wave there.
Let's try that one again. Blue buff is up for SK. That's obviously going to go over towards Ocelot. Giants in the end seem to have just backed away from that one. They don't want to be risking anything here. They are still, after all, 6,000 gold behind. There's still a lot of kills behind in this one. But what's the plan of attack? That Baron obviously was a steal for them. They managed to take down the inhibitor turret afterwards. But what do they need to do right now to get back into this game? Because they are still behind.
They need... I'm going to say they need vision, first of all. So they need to know where Hercubot is. They need to know where Ocelot is at all times. Because they can't go for a full-on engage against SK because of that drop. They're trying to go for potential picks here. But with the way SK is playing, they're staying relatively grouped up. They're not really going to get picked off at all. And Giants, they can't really afford to fight in the jungle because they're in such an enclosed space that the...
Equalizer.
Yeah, the Equalizer, the drop at a Pantheon is just going to devastate them.
Yeah, and that chain of corruption doesn't show a lot better when they're all stood next to each other as well like that. And not to mention wild growth, wild cards go. There's a lot of stuff that when you're in an enclosed space, it's probably not going to be good for the Giants. Now SK starting to push back. They realize that that Baron buff is going to be timing out here shortly. Will they push on through? Now, both of these teams have had games where they've said themselves, we had a real problem closing this one. We kind of hit a brick wall in terms of our strategy and where to go with that one. Well, SK now starting to push up this middle lane.
It is that 40-minute mark that Ocelot always talks about. Like at 40 minutes, we just forget what to do. That's Ocelot almost getting caught right there. It looks like we might see SK go for this turret.
Yeah, that hook lands, that could be the starting point that Giants are looking for, especially with Cassiopeia then able to get straight in there and ult the entire team up. His aims are on the mark. SK sitting, waiting for this inner turret for an opportunity to become available to them. Nif's off to the side here to put some damage through. Actually did seek a ward over the wall just to the right-hand side of where we're looking right now, so they've got vision of that side. And that's always a valuable thing to have, you know, when Thresh is there with a hook, you don't want to get hooked through the wall. There's a better... Oh, he's going to hook a minion.
That's not, not ideal.
I said that with extreme excitement, but obviously not
they
what
killed the minion though,
Joe.
For. They're 1-0 in terms of minions from that. But you see SK, I mean, with the Lich Bane, with the damage they have, they can siege this turret very quickly. Giants know this. They're being very hesitant to go for any sort of engage here. They're trying to ward as much as possible over that... I don't even... The wall? I don't even know... Is it banana wall? I don't know what to call it. But over that wall, just to spot where Hercubot is, in case they want to go for that that Herculot drop.
So, let's see then. Turret is going very, very low. And low as in dead right now. And that will be turret number 5 of for SK. And they've actually drawn or tied up the score in turrets taken. Now, Cassiopeia just having to farm up and push that bottom lane out. SK going to go for the old tutorial style here and head up towards top after stealing away that red buff.
See, this is what we were talking about earlier. Like, what can Giants do to get back in this? And the problem is, I said vision. And they have no vision in their own jungle towards the top side. So if SK wanted, they can just wait for Giants to get out of position and then just jump on them. They did that 2 times already in the middle lane over towards the top side of the bush, and they might be able to pull it off again.
Well, there are 3 of them right now. Oh, make that 4. I didn't see Morden hiding up there in the top as the hook. He's going to land here onto Ocelot. They're going to go for it. Ash Arrow comes through. That will hit Ocelot as well. The Cassiopeia ultimate wasn't what they were looking for as the equalizer goes down. There's Morden shutting down Candy Panda. Morden is going to die, though, with the last tick of the Ignite coming out of Kevin. But SK are on the run. They're trying to escape this one as Ocelot comes in. Stun card onto Jimbones. He cleanses, but the wild cards finish their job. And here comes Hercubot from above. There's Zonya's out of Kevin as well. But better, is he going to die? We've got action going off on 2 different fronts. Hercubot actually will take him down, but here comes the jump in. And Hercubot gets the kill. Amazing Pantheon play.
Wow, Joe, that was so well done. He dodged the jump out of Samix and then turned it around, jumping back on top of him. And because Samix is so low on health, he has that guaranteed crit coming out with that Black Cleaver. Wow. That was so well played by SK right there, even though it was a perfect engage out of Giants. It was it's a 4 for 5, so you really have to give Giants credit. Like, with how far behind they are, they're still able to pick up that many kills to SK.
33-16 we currently stand. Not too far away from a 10,000 gold lead either in favor of SK, and Baron is now up, so the next team fight might not be too far away from us.
It might not be far away indeed. We do have an Oracle picked up for Babetta. We have one as well for Nif, so they know that this is going to be the next point of fighting here. They need to make sure to hold down this vision. If Giants can get in there first, actually, I say that, but if they get in there first, you still have that Twisted Fate ulti to spot you. But they need the position advantage. Like, they have to be in the right position to win a fight versus SK, or with all the AoE SK has that we've been talking about is just going to destroy them. And they do have, you know, the Hawk shot out of Ash, so they have the available that they need. But the thing is, it's on a really long cooldown. It's about like 30 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. 60 seconds. Wow, I was really mistaken.
You were half right. And that's obviously, well, I don't even say that's even longer because, well, it's double the amount of time. They're going to need that. They're going to need to save that Hulk shot for this kind of moment where they just throw it straight in there. They're going to spot Nif. Actually, he's going to get hooked up here, and the ultimate comes out of Extermin, to be honest. Wasn't the best that we've ever seen. The Baron doing work there, though, taking Nif down to half.
And he does have a blue pot, so luckily for him, his ultimate's not going to be on too long of a cooldown, though.
Yeah.
Still at about 80 seconds at this point. He has his own blue buff available, so he needs to go pick that up. But still, I mean, Nif wasn't able to clear out the wards inside that Baron pit, and it kind of made his entire team back off, as you see everyone at SK is just back at their own base here.
46 minutes in. No team seemingly able to close this one out just yet. SK got to deal with a big wave pushing down on this bottom side. That'll all go over to Ocelot, already up at 351 before he did that there. That was exactly the same amount as Candy Panda has. And that, between the 80 carries, the CS totals actually stayed very, very similar the entire way through now. Still sat around that 50 mark. SK here starting to push up. They know that Giants are actually waiting there on the left-hand side by Baron. Are they going to try and push straight up?
They could. I mean, they're forcing Giants to react. SK can just push up this middle lane, get that turret very easy, and you'll have Giants caught off guard in a bad position. And Giants, they have to hurry. They need to get around back to their base, or they're going to lose that turret very quickly.
Well, I'm not sure that they can get in there in time. Try to wedge their way through the gap there and back up into the base. Only Samix able to jump over that wall and get there. And they force SK to back away. Say, okay, positional advantage again. We're going back to Baron.
But look how much damage they did to that turret. It dropped about half life just from a couple of auto attacks from SK, not to mention the Lich Bane as well. And they are heading back to Baron, just as you said. They have that Oracle still, so they clear all that vision. And now Giants, with only like Volley to be their big vision spotter, they're gonna have a tough time here of getting in and stopping this.
Baron gonna be hit once, but not fully started off here. SK will be spotted here by the Hawk shot. They're actually on top of a ward as well, and they will back away. Very tense moments here, and you can see just that positional play. SK being very, very cautious not to get caught by their own trick there and allowing Giants to get down to that inhibitor.
Ooh, almost lane right there. But yeah, we're so late in the game that if you die, you're dead for like 70 seconds, 60, 70 seconds. And in that amount of time, as you see, Twisted Fate actually going in here.
They are going to see them diving straight into that one. There is the Zonya's coming out of Ocelot. Good damage from Hercubot as well. He's going to have the wild growth on him. 1 kill coming down for Morden on towards Twisted Fate. We will see Hercubot die as well as they turn around on towards Kevin. Zonya's at the very last second. Samux is going to fall finally, at the end of that one, he had his Guardian Angel pop that he picked up earlier on, and that will leave us with a 3-on-2 advantage for Giants.
Yeah, that was all due to Hercubot. He dropped into the backside of the team of Giants, but they all just split up. They all just focused Pantheon down, killed him pretty much right away as Ocelot fell right behind that. And they were able to just deal with the drop that was always so troublesome for him, and were able to turn around into 3 kills for 2 deaths. But they could actually go for Baron with who they have. They have Ashe, the sustain of Ashe. Like, he has a Bloodthirster, so they could go for it. But Candy Panda as well, he has the damage. If he wants to, he could probably get all 3 kills here.
Well, let's see. Baron is going to be started off. Are Giants going to stick around? They are indeed. They're going to go for this one. Babetta taking a good couple of hits. Exterminate's low. Jimbo's now down to half, but with that Bloodthirster in there, he's going to be healing up nicely, and Giants are going to be able to take that one away. Here come SK from that bottom side, but Lulu and Varus, I don't think you're going to be able to do anything about that. And Giants take a second consecutive Baron. This time, of course, not a steal, but that's not really the point. They've taken 2 in a row.
And the thing was, coming out 3-2 in that fight when they were down so much gold is just a phenomenal job of them. Great teamwork in the middle of the entirety of that fight. But I mean, so many items are being completed for Giants now that they're pretty much on par with SK in terms of that. It all comes down to who can outplay who in the fights, who can catch a mistake on the other team.
And you have to say that SK, you know, their whole strategy here, that go in, is very, very risky. You only need one bad call or someone to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that can all fall to pieces very, very quickly for you. Interested to see how this one all works out. Obviously, we are getting pretty far on there with the item builds. Where's the main difference for you, Jason, in these two?
Well, I'm looking at the... Sorry for the pause. I was just looking at... I was just trying to think in my head, like, what the main thing is that... So you have the 280 carries. They're very similar in terms of both building a little bit of MR. They have really good damage on each of them. I said that, like, the big difference doesn't even come down to items anymore. Like, you have the jungle of Hercubot compared to the jungle of Morden, where Morden has a lot of damage and he also has a lot of health. So the Blade of the Rune King is the only thing that's really going to do a lot of work to him, but he also has enough armor to really sustain that as well. So it comes down to that, but I think it mostly comes down to the abilities. Like, it doesn't really matter when you're 15 minutes in if there's a difference in items when, you know, it's this late in. It just comes down to who can use their champion the correct way. As we do finally have Giants going for a push on this turret, they should be able to get the inhibitor down.
Oh, they are going to get in there, but here comes Hercubot once again. Babetta is low. There's Chain of Corruption coming out. Samac's going to dive away, but that's going to leave Morden all alone. He uses a repel. Ocelot coming in from the side. He's actually going to be trapped on his own, but he gets 1 kill, and that will be a 1-for-1 up until now. Make that 2-for-1 as Cassiopeia goes down. Samax is going to get trapped. Brilliant Zhonya bait, and now Samax will find himself in all kinds of trouble. He will drop, and that is 3-for-1 in favor of SK. Again, brilliant Zhonya's control from Ocelot.
And that was against a Baroned up Giants. That just shows you, like, the game is so close. Giants won the last fight, SK wins this one, but it all came down to if they could land their entire combo correctly. They did right there. They'd be able to push this middle inhibitor turret down. And the thing was, Giants didn't even get the inhibitor off of SK. It was down to, like, sub 100 health, and they did not finish it off.
Yeah, and now they have a big amount of time to be pushing through for this one. There's the turret. The inhibitor will fall. Samac's not for 45 seconds. Morden not in here for 30 seconds. Are SK going to try and push for the win here? Looks like they'll want to take the bottom turret and inhibitor as well, if they actually end up hitting it at some point in the near future. Babetta actually going to take a lot of damage there. The stun card landing in onto him. Hercubot's been tanking up the turret here, and with that, they probably want to back off.
I think if also hit the turret maybe one more time, yeah, with that Lich Bane, they probably could have finished it off, but still, better safe than sorry. Back away and live to fight another day, as they are going to still with a blue buff from Cass, which is going to be very important. Hasn't really itemized for cooldown reduction, but he's only going to get it from that blue and a blue pod if he picks it up. So that's actually going to keep him out of the fight quite well. Like, it's going to really limit his damage that he can put out.
So Dragon going to be taken, and that gold that you get from there is not really significant at this point of the game. It's going to allow a load of wards to be bought for someone though later on. As Candy Panda farming top, going to push that back away from that inner turret. Let's have that last Whisper now added into the rest of his build. So now he's only really got his boots to sell at this point.
I think Giants are actually going to have force a team fight very soon. Because you have Samix, he had a Guardian Angel before in that last fight where Giants actually came out ahead in kills. It's up again very soon. And I think it's like, if Samix can jump into the enemy team and get them to blow everything onto him, the rest of the team can follow up and pick up the kills that they're going to need. Though we see Kevin building up towards his GA as well. It's going to come down to if they can engage before he gets that, then they should have a good chance of winning a fight.
So middle lane pushed out as well. Baron buff now, of course, has ran out. Very, very tense game here. Which, you know, if you were just to look at the gold scores and not anything else, it's pretty big in terms of the lead for SK here. But those team fights have been a different story, as we are going to see Ocelot coming in. He gets cocooned up straight away, forced to use the Zhonya's. There is Hercubot, but are SK going to keep going? Yes, they are. Samux gets absolutely destroyed. His Guardian Angel popped, but Better going to be pushed down here as well. Samux going very, very low and falling eventually. Jimbone's the only one really doing the work as he pulls away thanks to that Lantern, and that will be a 2-for-1, but it's not over yet. Morden turns back around on towards Hercubot, but there's too much damage coming out of SK. And you see his legs twitching there on the ground as he dies, and that is 3-for-1.
And I get a beautiful ultimate out of Kevin. Like, every time he lands a perfect ulti, they win these fights hands down. He's able to lock up Jimbone so well that Hercule was able to jump on top of him. Jimbone's had to cleanse it and flash away and kept him out of the fight instead of blowing up Ocelot right after that Zhonya's finished off. Bomb turret is very low. They're going to finish this off. They're probably looking for another inhibitor. They could actually go for the win if they wanted to.
Yeah. Well, they've got 4 men still alive. Hercubot, of course, has to be a little bit careful. In fact, he will be recalling in this bottom lane. And that will be Giant staying safe, at least for now. What pressure is on them, you know? They've got super minions going to be streaming in now from not just that middle, but the bottom lane as well. The top lane actually has a massive stack of minions. That turret might go down just from the minions there.
And the thing is, we have Baron coming up in about a minute. So with these 2 inhibitors down, with those 2 waves pushing in, like, SK can just bait Giants out to go for it. And from that, you can have SK take it, and then with that Baron buff, just completely overpower Giants. Or you'll just have Twisted Fate, and you'll have Pantheon backdoor.
Yeah, and then we saw that turret going down to the minions in the end. So that's another one for SK. 8-5 there now up in turrets. Gold lead is at 10,000, but pretty much everyone up to their full builds right now. We can see if we talk about the Rumble versus Kha'Zix situation, the Zhonya's in there, which again Kevin been using brilliantly. The Crystal Scepter, the Andrew's Torment, Void Staff, and those Sorcerer Shoes coming in there. So a lot of magic penetration coming out from Rumble. You compare that over a Warmogs, the Muramana, Last Whisper, Bloodthirster, Guardian Angel for Kha'Zix.
And you look right now at who has full item builds. You have Ocelot done, you have Candy Panda done, you have Kevin done relatively soon once he gets his Guardian Angel, then you have Jimbones as the only person who's really completed. Actually, I'd say Samix is done as well. Like, so you only have 2 people on the Giant side that have a full item build. The thing is, you have 3 damage dealers on SK, that's done, and you only have 2 over to Giant. So that really shows how the fights have been going, and it might have been a little different.
Oh, this could get very interesting here. SK going to the top. Giants were going down middle, but they've realized that SK were coming in. They're all going to start to recall. I had flashes of base race in my head there, but sadly enough, at least not yet, going to happen for this one. Baron is available. SK going to take that one away here. Giants can't contest that now.
And there's no way Giants can win this base race because that Lich Bane onto Ocelot with how much AP he has. He'll be defending this up, so he'll be going up against a 5-man SK Baroned up team. And it's going to come down to this last fight in the next couple of minutes to decide who's going to win this game. Because even if, actually, well, it depends. If Giants lose like 3 or 4 members in a team fight and yet they ace SK, they don't have what they need to really push the lanes and win the game right off the bat. So they might be able to get an inhibitor off of it, but it depends who's the last one left.
Well, let's see, because that final fight is surely close to coming in here. See the push onto this top inhibitor turret, the only inhibitor turret remaining here on the map for the Giants, as the hook goes through 2 of them. That could have been the start that Giants were looking for in this one. All the minions gone. Candy Panda putting off a couple of hits. Both AD carries got that Banshee's Veil in now, so that means there's going to be 2 abilities aimed their way that aren't going to connect. And, well, they're both going to be hoping that it's the big ones, the stuns.
It's pretty much right now, though, Joe. If Giants don't fight, if they lose their top inhibitor turret, the game's over. They have to fight for it. And you're looking for that Q out of Thresh to be the initiator. Now you can have SK just drop right on top of them, so the inhibitor down yet again on the mid lane. We see Jimbo's going for the engage here.
Yeah, Samux actually going down very low. The ultimate came out of Candy Panda. SK have managed to actually push Giants back away. They're trying desperately to defend against all these super minions coming in. Look at the path that Nif took through the jungle. You can track it by the wards that he's put down there, snaking through that Giant side of the jungle. Here we go. Twisted Fate ulti is going to be popped, and he's going to come right into the middle of the fight. Loses a lot of health before actually using his Zhonya's there. The box is down from the Beta. Ocelot gonna die. He couldn't quite rescue Cassiopeia with a Lantern, but SK actually very low from this one. Jimbo's gonna try and get himself in there. The Harpoon will land. Cocoon doesn't quite connect to Candy Panda, and SK are back in. The hook lands, but the Beta not gonna follow it.
Yes, they do have Gym Modes alive, though. He has a lot of damage onto his team. They have a couple of home guard boots. You see Samus coming back in again. SK is going to have to retreat because they're going to be up against a full health, full mana team of Giants. And they do back away, so...
Nif's trying his best to get out. Yeah, he's going to get caught in here. Actually, nice flash over the top there. But look at Giants. They are a lot healthier since they've gone home. Should they be pushing right now?
No. Aslad's ulti will be up very quickly. Like they saw it happen in the last team fight. They know a lot of times gone by. They have to keep someone back there, or just the items that Aslad has. He will, rip through those Nexus turrets. He will win the game, and they'll finally do to a team what XPK keeps doing to them.
But if they push, you can't ulti the whole map.
It's true. But I still have to give it to SK though, because you have two ways of super minions pushing. You don't have any inhibitors down for Giants. Actually, you have 3 inhibitors down for SK now so far. Like, you can push, but you have to pretty much all in it. Like, you're committing to a loss or a victory by that.
Well, I think Giants probably need to all in anyway at this stage. Backs really to the wall. You see there, Jimbo's just pushing out as much as he possibly can. Giants are seeing their jungle for the first time in what feels like forever here. And they've not been really able to put any vision down with that either. SK Gaming now coming up this middle lane. Super minions with him. Ocelot is going to be coming in at the back. This could well be that last fight.
He has his ulti available if he wants to just go straight for it into the back lines. But, the way these fights have been breaking out is that you see Kevin, he lands an excellent ultimate across the team of Giants. And then you have Ocelot, he ultis into the entire team and just zone you, so he kind of baits them in, just wants to get the middle of the team to fight it. But the thing is, Jimbones has the damage he needs to destroy anyone that comes, up against him. But Extra doesn't have his last damage item for that to happen. If he had maybe his DFG or Death Cap right now, they probably could win these fights because they have more damage that SK is offering up.
As the Spiderling gonna pop the Banshee's Veil of Candy Panda. Obviously that cooldown is now a lot lower as Candy Panda gonna get hit here by the Cocoon. No follow-up though from Giants, and the problem is that he's life-stealing all that straight back here. They need to go right in on top of him. Hook landing onto a minion, but here comes the Ash Arrow. Giants are gonna go for this one. Kevin uses his Zhonya's Hourglass here. Ocelot coming in, stun card ready to be pulled. Giants have managed to repel the attack for now, but the turret has gone down there on the Nexus. They need to deal with that one. The inhibitor will fall here as well. Nif finishes that one off. SK gonna go in for the kill on this one. There's a repel. The ultimate missing, and here comes X7. He's managed to do good damage, but SK are still here. They still have super minions hammering away. Those turrets are now down. Here comes Hercule, but Giants are gonna heal up. This is gonna be one last big final fight, but look at the amount of minions in there. Oh, and there is a Nexus going down. The jump from Samus to the back, not enough to save them. And SK Gaming finally finish off the Giants here. 61 minutes and 23 seconds. You saw the laugh there from Ocelot, but he didn't want to risk throwing that one.
Such a long game. Yeah, I mean, SK now 3-1 so far in Super Week. Well played by both teams. You have to give Giants a lot of credit. They were down. I mean, they were up in the beginning, but then they fell behind so far, and yet were able to drag this game out long enough and really gave SK a run for their money.